the information, I think, well, from my experience, it's competitiveness, that people hold back precedents, especially, I came from a big firm background, and I found, especially when I went in-house, like I went in-house straight away, when I would ask colleagues for things, they were just like, sort it out yourself. And I always felt so alone. And that's part of the reason I set up Law Hero. I didn't understand why we couldn't just share information, because at the end of the day, you're not going to make more money by having more knowledge. It's your application of the knowledge. Like, that's the skill of being a solicitor.
Yeah, well, it's even stupider than that, because because the precedents that are floating around, if you're in a big firm and you've got let's say you're doing mergers or acquisitions or corporate or something like that, or even tax.
Yeah.
The precedent that you have, the same precedent is down the road in another office, so it's not unique to that,
yes.
to that firm. And if it is unique to that firm, and when I was in PwC, they had their precedent bank, but the only precedents that were held under lock and key, were stamp duty and custom and excise. They were the only ones which you couldn't get your hands on, because they were real precedent tax schemes.
Yeah. Yes.
Ones that everybody else had. So handing it out. So I worked out very quickly that there's nothing. Now, I suppose because of the way I work, I have been in some of the biggest employment law cases in the country. I mean, the very first national minimum wage claim that got to the High Court was mine.
Wow.
And I lost spectacularly in the Labour Court, and my argument was there was a contract that was done for a man, and now he was a man who was in here with a personal injury claim, but the case came down to me, and I thought it was an interesting one to run. And his contract provided that he would work was from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Right. Now, he never worked those hours.
Yeah.
Worked about 37 hours a week, but the contract said this.
Yeah.
And I said, well, the legislation says the hours you work or what's in your contract. So I went in claiming 12 hours a day, days a week. And I got spectacularly thrown out. And it went up to the High Court. I had Marguerite Budger as my senior counsel. And Sharon Dillon Lyons as the junior. And we went up and we argued that there's a literal interpretation of the legislation. And even if it sounds crazy and it would be a breach of, the Labour Court said it would be a breach of the Working Time Act to work that way. It didn't. This was a national minimum wage, and that's what was said. And the High Court held with us. So, I've had a number of those, but my approach to things is I'm a section and subsection man.
Yeah.
And anybody in this office, I always say to them, don't come down and tell me the commentaries. Tell me the section and the subsection. And even if the commentaries go against you, I support you on the reading of the legislation, because that's where it all comes back to. And the really good lawyers that I have come across in my time, are all section and subsection lawyers.
Okay.
So you can have a great precedent bank.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people doing conveyancing who've never read the Conveyancing Act.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I started, and it goes a long way back, I did conveyancing, and I had a copy of the Conveyancing Law Property Act 1881. And I used to find it brilliant, because lots of people didn't have it, and I would reply to the requisitions precluded by section such of the Conveyancing Law Property Act 1881. And they would come back to me and say, do you have a copy of the Act? And I used to respond, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Can I have a copy of the Act? To which the answer was always yes. So what I would say to you is, sharing is a bit like that program, Sharing is Caring. If you share the information, you're not actually taking anything. You're not giving anything away.
Yeah, it's not a secret.
In fact, what you're doing is, you'll find that if you're giving something away, the person who's giving it come back and telling you why they're looking for it, and you may learn something yourself.
Yes.
What I do on social media is all give away information. But you know, the thing about it is none of the information that I'm giving away is information that you can't find.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's very important for people. And look, it's a great game. I mean, now, as I said to you, you wanted to set something up for something like 7:30 in the morning. I don't know that 7:30 exists because I did crime at one stage. And that meant we didn't start till 10:30, and I still don't kick into gear until about 10:30. But some people are early morning people, some people are late people. But what I would say to you is, if you're sharing information, that's what you're going to do. That's because what it does there is you become collegiate. And you become collegiate, people know that you're collegiate, and they will come to you. And very often, I will get a phone call from somebody who says, "Hi, Richard, I'm not phoning you up to ask for anything. I'm just phoning up to give you a heads up on this. Or have you heard about this? Or I've got this case running through and I've got this decision that comes through. This seems kind of interesting. Or, I got an opinion from council on X, Y, and Z. I thought I'd give you a heads up on that." So if you become collegiate, it's funny, if you have you get the information back. And so I would say to anybody going into it, be collegiate.
Yeah, be generous with your knowledge at the stage you're at in your career, because of the law of reciprocity, it'll come back eventually. Can I ask you, so the channel is obviously based around getting people into the legal profession. The challenge most people have is that they don't have legal experience off the bat, and when they go for the traineeship and they ask for feedback, the law firm will say, you don't have enough legal experience. How I remedied that in my own life was I did unpaid internship. I put my hands up. I did many unpaid internship, also with state bodies here in Ireland. A few very famous state bodies where I was unpaid. I was paid in tea and biscuits. Tea and biscuits was all I got. And then I had to give them tea and biscuits. And that was as recent as 2013. So I know you have very strong opinions on unpaid internships. But Richard, let's be honest here. Just hear me out. If they don't pay you in cash like they should, but you get the legal experience, is it not of some benefit? I know, ethically, morally, legally, it's not correct, but at the end of the day, you are getting something. There is a quid pro quo.
All right. Well, what I will say to you is, I went into the legal profession, and the family had no connection with any law firm. All right, so we had no connection with the law. I think the only connection that we had with the law is that there had been a price on my grandfather's head during the War of Independence. We actually think that it was for stealing cattle, but that was about the only interaction with the law that the family ever had. So what I would say to you is, I didn't know anybody in the law. I went in and I knew nobody. So this thing of saying that you don't have the experience. I don't like the idea of people doing unpaid internships. Now, there are people who will come to me, and if somebody comes in to me and they're going to be doing any work whatsoever, I'm going to pay them because I have a thing about it. Now, there'll be other people who come in and say, "Look, Richard, do you mind if I shadow you?" So, in other words, they're not going to even make the tea and the coffee. So they might get a tea and a coffee, but they're not. So all they're going to be doing is coming in, and I'll take them to shadow me. And that's what they do. They won't photocopy one single page. They'll be asked to do nothing other than sit in the corner and watch how I do it. That's different now, because they're not actually doing any work. They're just shadowing. They're looking at what I do, and I have no difficulty doing that with somebody. But I have a thing about getting in and saying, look, you take unpaid jobs. I think what you do on something like that nowadays, and if I'm going to be brutally honest, what do you do if you want to get into the profession? All right. Well, this is hopefully is only going to be seen by those who are thinking of getting into the law rather than those who are in the law. So let me tell you how I think you can get yourself into one of the better offices by being a bit devious.
Okay.
Right?
All ears.
So all ears. So the first thing you do is you get out your mobile phone. Right? It's always a very good place to start. And you go on to LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You go on to LinkedIn. And then what you do is you start following all the important people in all the big offices. Now, to do that, you'll probably need a laptop, right? Now, so what you do is you go into the laptop and you get what kind of area of law are you interested in? Which, in generally speaking, if you're going in, if you turn around and say, I want to be a corporate lawyer, yeah, you haven't got a clue. You're only getting into the profession. You don't know what corporate law is look like compared with family law. Oh, by the way, I'm into human rights. I'll give you a thing. Don't put that anywhere on a CV that you're into human rights. Stay well away from that.
Save me.
There is no money in human rights. And I'm not being facetious, but
unless you're a Mal Clooney or something.
Yeah, but that scares the living bejesus out of most offices. Right now, so stay away from that. But what you do is you get your laptop out, and then you go through the law firms, and you find the names of the partners, and then you start following them all. And then what you do is you pick a few areas. So you pick a few areas that you think you're going to be interested in. Now, and again, stay away from human rights. Take things like employment law or corporate law or data protection or something like that, right? And then with religious fervor, equivalent to a crusader heading out to save the Holy Land, you start liking their stuff. You make sure that you've got a reasonably good picture of yourself that makes you not the picture of you with three of your friends, like
yeah.
I would always say to people, get the one that your granny thinks looks well.
Yeah.
Nice little headshot with you. Yeah. Not the one going to your devs.
No.
Which I see those ones and I go, yeah, that's not putting out the professional one. Or the other one that you get is some fella in his sports gear.
Yeah.
Now, unless you happen to be sports gear happens to be golf gear, which that's fine. So if you're interested in anything, golf is a very good one to be interested in. It's a bit like golf, reading books and walking. Yeah, I see interests, like nobody believes those,
No. Or reading the Irish Constitution in my spare time. I've seen that one.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's that just goes straight into the bin. Yeah. So you're interested.
Reading Richard Grogan.
So your CV, don't stand at the bar on a Friday night and lowering 12 pints. Not a great one to do, but the other one is socializing. Yeah. Well, stay away from walking, reading books, and things like that. You sound boring as hell. Put in something. But I would say to you, you go onto LinkedIn and you start liking them.
Yeah.
No, not with the same thing that everything that Richard Grogan puts up, because I've got a couple who will be following me, and if I put up, I'm thinking of going for a cup of coffee, they like it and share it. Yeah, stay away from that.
Yeah, be reasonable.
But you only need to like their stuff about once a week or so, and but regularly write their stuff. So, and you need to put a comment in, by the way, because your comments would be useless.
Yeah.
And don't even go sharing the thing now unless they've won something.
Yeah. Congratulations.
No, in which case they're there with the trophy.
Oh.
They put up the picture of them getting the trophy, in which case it's always a good idea to turn around and put in congratulations.
Yeah.
Or you could, if you're really sucking up to them, and you could do a share on that.
Look, thank you, Richard. I'll let you get on with your working day. I'm sure you have hundreds of people knocking down your door looking for help.
Listeners.
Yeah. Well, you helped out a colleague this morning, and you helped out lots of other people. So thank you very, very much.